what are you gonna do? Demonetize me? Oh. Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Anshul with Supercharged. So I was watching the Dem debates, like the good, engaged citizen that I am, and I was kind of struck by how relatable the candidates felt like they needed to be. As if they could ever beat the libertarians.
Should someone have to have a government-issued license to drive a car?
Hell no!
What's next? Requiring a license to make toast in your own damn toaster?
Oh, fuck! And so that got me thinking about what the politics of likability and what the beer test has to say about our current political climate. So, this is what I've learned about what the beer test is and how it affects our modern politics. If you haven't heard of it before, the beer test is a common American litmus test for likability. The idea rests on whether or not you could share a beer with the person you're talking about and enjoy yourself. It actually dates back to George Bush's unprecedented win over John Kerry, and it mainly tries to answer the question of, can I relate to this person or not? This is actually a big part of the uniquely American culture of trust. We want to feel like we can trust the people that we vouch for. This kind of culture actually started in a post-Civil War society, where likability was actually seen as a sign of business virtue. In 1952, Eisenhower was actually the first one to bring this to politics with his I Like Ike ads.
Ike for president, Ike for president, Ike for president, Ike for president. You like Ike, I like Ike, everybody likes Ike for president. Hang out the banner, beat the drum, we'll take Ike to Washington.
And since those ads, there's been a ton of seemingly irrelevant questions about ridiculous things, just to try to get some politicians to relate more to the average American. There's Bill Clinton with his boxes of briefs.
In an appearance on MTV, I was asked a question about my undergarments. More specifically, whether I wore boxers or briefs.
And now Kamala Harris is smoking weed with Snoop Dogg.
Have you ever smoked?
I have.
Okay. Was it a blunt or joint?
It was a joint.
Hey, what were you listening to when you was high? What was on? What song was it?
Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, definitely Snoop. Tupac.
This was a big point of what people actually believe ruined Clinton's presidency. Think piece after think piece after think piece on both sides criticized Clinton for being robotic and unlikable, when she's one of the most qualified women in politics today. But like, why? The beer test is rooted in ages of toxic masculinity, where sharing a beer and being inebriated is the only time it's okay for a man to express his true emotions. This is a concept that's been around for ages, a concept we definitely do not want to keep promoting. When we talk about likability, it's often a thin veneer for what we're really trying to talk about, which is trust. In our modern world, relationships are the most important thing, and those relationships are built on trust. And when you trust a person, you feel like you can vouch for them. Because of our system of democracy, this is all the more vital. In a representative democracy, we vote for who we want to represent us in government. So essentially, we're voting for people that we trust to do the right thing when the time comes. This goes hand in hand with our belief that good campaigns equal good leaders. The people we trust on the campaign while they're driving around the entire country in their minivan are the same people that will be good leaders when they need to make those calls. But that hasn't always been the case. The American way of picking our politicians is one of the most inefficient interview practices. But it's the only way we got. And therein lies why likability is important. Likability fills the gaps of what we don't know about a person and lets us assume whatever we want about whoever they are. Because if this person is similar to who I am, then they'll probably make similar decisions in similar situations. But this idea has been kind of perverted, because now we're asking questions about what beer do they like best, as if that matters. This video is gonna kill me. The perfect example of this perversion is actually the Clinton and Trump campaigns of 2012. 2020, 2016, 2016. 2016. Based on a completely hypothetical scenario, people can make broad assumptions about what a candidate's capabilities are, what person they are, or even what they would do in a crisis. All based on a perceived candidate's ability to hold a conversation in a scenario that will literally never happen. The same specter of likability is actually haunting Kamala Harris and Elizabeth Warren right now, which leads many to call this practice sexist. Which it is, but it's also a difference in what likability looks like. For example, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, while a very polarizing figure, is still very clearly likable. The same can be said for many of the other freshman politicians in the millennial crowd. As time goes on, the politics of likability will shift. But I still think we're asking the wrong questions of our leaders. Like we talked about earlier, the point of the beer test is to get at whether or not we can trust a politician to get it right when it counts. Questions about their boxer preference, or beer choice, or whether or not they like the chili doesn't really give us any insight into whether or not they're going to launch a nuclear silo in the next year. Instead, what I believe is that we have to more concretely define what we mean by trust. We can do this by setting up a framework of what we think trusting a person really means. I think it's broken down into 4 major pieces. First, managerial. Has this person led a really large team with different goals? Were they successful in being an effective leader? Second, persuasive. What does their on-screen credibility look like? How do they look like on a debate stage? Have they shown they are capable diplomatically? Third, record. What have they voted for? Do they continue to vote for these similar measures? What looks like it would actually change their mind and make them vote a different way? And finally, the 4th one, stability and humility. Any role that comes with a great level of trust comes with a lot of power. And as we know about power,
with great power comes great responsibility.
Taking this responsibility is one of the biggest undertakings. At the end of the day, can we trust that this person will be a good role model for the rest of us? By having a concrete understanding of why we trust someone, we can finally find out what we believe in our politicians and in the people in our lives, and what we want out of them. In doing so, we choose representatives we actually concretely trust, instead of ones that just have a sexist penchant for getting drunk. Alright. Like, subscribe, comment, all that stupid shit. You know what to do. It's 2 p.m. I'm taking a fucking nap. Good night. Whoa. Oh. But like,